just after a drive, and it's still very, very wet. Remember kids, good enough is good enough. Oh, that line isn't good enough, that's really wonky. That's disgusting. It's much too cold, it's windy, I'm doing it outside, there's no masking, I haven't prepped it properly. It doesn't matter. Check out the yummy carpet water. Well, that's new. It's quite wet out here, so I was expecting that all to be fogged up, and it's not. So let's have a look and see how much water's inside it. Aside from a drop from the tailgate when I opened it, I think we might have solved one water leak. Because that's lovely and dry in there. Let's see what we're doing with the front end. Nope, it's still coming in at the front. And this is where it gets a bit weird. This split here, that doesn't seem to relate to anything particularly, it's just a split in the seal, but you can see there's water on the inside. But there's no water on the outside. Oh, hang on. There's water on the inside. At first I thought there was no water on the outside, but there is a little bit. Let's pop this off again. Yeah, you can see where it's coming down on the outside of the seal like it should. And just at this point, just at that point it's getting in, and I think it's coming in further up somehow. No, I'm a bit puzzled on that one, because that's not very clear. I mean, that random bit of trim, that's all dry. Yeah, it must be this point because everything above that's dry, so that must be the water ingress point. All I could think to do on this one is load up the seam where the water looks like it's getting through with some sealant. There was sort of, I don't know, you couldn't really see through it, but there were some bits that looked like they were a void, and they're now all filled up. So once that's gone off, I'll put the seal back on properly, and hopefully that will cure the water problem at the front. If not, I'm not really sure what's going to be causing it, but that's water leaks for you. You just have to keep looking for more points that it's coming in and doing a bit more and chasing it out. I do hate chasing water leaks. On the plus side, passenger side is staying absolutely bone dry. There's no problems here at all, so as far as water ingress is concerned. I hate water leaks. So, I noticed the back window was a bit fogged up, and sure enough, in the boot we've got water coming in. But it's not coming in where it was. Now it's coming in. This is the wiring loom here. And you see there's some welding there, but it's like it's coming through this seam, which is a bit strange because there's no way for it to get in from the outside. So I think what I might have done is caused a problem. Down here, you can see where I sealed it up. That's all bone dry. I've got a feeling that this pocket now is filling up and it's overflowing down this run and then just finding spots to come out, which is really irritating. At the front, we still have water coming in. Now, I know from previous cars it can be the moisture membrane in the door card. This was reinforced by some comments on one of the forums I use, and I noticed that while this has been dry before, this time, this corner, and it's already dry now, but this corner on here actually felt wet. So I also know the speaker doesn't work, and I wanted to find out why. So I'm going to take this door card off and I'm going to see what's behind it. One of those would be nice. It's all smashed to bits. There's going to be a lot I can do to repair it any better. I'll save all these broken bits. You never know, they might glue back together. So to take this off, it's been two little cover plates in there, one screw, one bolt. On the door pocket there's 5 screws, but only 2 are actually holding it in. And then the door handle, it's usually 2 screws, this is one of them. That's the other one. And then I expect door cards held on with poppers. There we go. As you can see, it's all just little pop things. And the fabric bit comes off separately. Right. That looks fine. It's not being disturbed. Where I thought it might be letting water in on this corner, there's no issues. There's nothing here that tells me that this is other than it was built, to be honest. It doesn't look like any nobody's ever been in. So, I mean, the spots like this that look like water, they're not. That's where the membrane's actually glued on. So, the mystery continues as to why the water's getting in here. Because it doesn't make any sense. Somehow it's getting to this point, and I mean, there's no hole there now. I've sealed that up. There's no hole. Somehow the water's getting in somewhere. I am lost on this one. The only other thing I've got as a suggestion is these rails apparently have a habit of leaking, and it could be running down the inside of the A-pillar, but I know these sometimes leak as well, but again, this doesn't look bad. I don't know. Unscrewed the 4 little screws holding the speaker cone in, and I can see part of the problem is water's getting onto the spade connectors and staying on them, so that's part of it. The other part is the bottom of the cone is just gone, it's not there anymore. So that's probably why that speaker doesn't work. One of the reasons I did that is I wanted to have a look in the door bottom, and you can see there, that's a drain hole, and that's nice and clear. There's no water sat in these doors, and there's no sign that the water's coming through the door and getting into the car. So I think I can rule that out. So the only other place I can think it's coming from is somehow further up. But when you look at the door jam's actually very dry on the inside. You don't get any water appearing until there. And the car is still wet on the outside, so if it was letting water in on this side, you'd still see traces of it, so it must be coming in somewhere higher up somehow. So to have a look at how this comes out, it does just pull out like so. It's dirty, but there's no obvious signs of leaking. I'm going to pop this end cap off, there's a little screw hiding in there, and see if it's just maybe blocked up and not draining properly. After a bit of a scrub in that channel, there is a possible contender. The gap there, where the screen seal meets the roof, is a bit wibbly wobbly. But other than that, this is fairly clean. I mean, apart from the actual dirt, but what I mean is there's no obvious signs that water can get through here and into the car. So that's really there is really my only clue as to where it might be getting in. Of course, it could be coming in through here as well, but this is always dry, so I'll lift it off and have a look. Well, if that didn't leak before, it probably will now. That was very well stuck on. But you can see from the water line there, it's not getting past this, so I don't think it's the aerial at fault. Literally the only thing I can see is just that little bit there on the windscreen. I don't know, maybe it's coming in through there and then draining round down the A-pillar on the inside and down in here. But then how is the water getting there and jumping over the gap? That's the thing. Problem area is all dried out, or suspected problem area, so I'm going to try some of this stuff. I've used this on a couple of cars where I've been struggling to find a leak and put it in the suspect areas. It always works. And yes, it's a silly name, but I can't think of a better name for it because that's what it does. And all you do is, where there's this little bit here, is where we're just going to squirt this in. And with a bit of luck, it's already disappearing quite a lot. If there is a leak there, it'll find it. It's disappearing somewhere, so that does suggest there is a leak, or rather a place for the water to get in. Doesn't seem to want to take any more, so you just leave that to dry and then you reapply as necessary. It might fix it. It might be the door seal itself that's faulty, in which case I'll just get some generic seal and replace it, but I'm at a loss on this one. Just been on an errand and it is just raining again. I had put the Captain Tolley's in the windscreen seal, and it turned out that was a good idea because that is the Captain Tolley's that's run down from where I put it in inside the car. The really good thing about that, in a way, it's not on the other side of the seal. So I know now that it's not leaking from the outside in, it's leaking from the windscreen seal and it's running down the inside of the car and getting in. So that means what I have to do is seal up the windscreen. Great. Don't worry, it's fine. Guess that's a snail brand spanner.